I told my daughter I am not paying for her wedding. My 24-year-old daughter Ashley came over to my house last Sunday with a huge binder full of wedding plans. She plopped it down on my kitchen table like she was presenting some business proposal. She started flipping through pages showing me venues, flowers, photographers, and catering menus. Everything looked fancy and expensive. Really expensive. Dad, I've got everything planned out, she said with this huge smile. The venue is this gorgeous country club downtown. The photographer won Amy's Photography Award last year. And look at this cake design. I'm looking at these numbers and my eyes are getting wider with each page. The venue alone was $12,000. The photographer was another $4,000. The flowers were $3,000. This all looks beautiful, honey, I said carefully. But what's the total budget we're talking about here? Ashley flipped to the back page and pointed to a number that made my stomach drop. $47,000 for one day. I know it seems like a lot, she said quickly, but this is my dream wedding. I've been planning this since I was little, and you always said you'd pay for my wedding when I got married. That was true. When she was 8 years old and playing dress up, I did promise I'd pay for her wedding someday, but I was thinking more like 10 or 15,000. Not enough money to buy a new car. Actually, that's almost $50,000, I said. That's more than I make in a whole year after taxes. She waved her hand like that wasn't important. You can take out a loan or something. Sarah's dad did that for her wedding and Mike's parents used their retirement money. That's when I realized my daughter had completely lost touch with reality. She wanted me to go into debt or raid my retirement so she could have one expensive party. What does Brandon think about all this? I asked. Brandon was her fiancé, a nice kid who worked at a car dealership. Oh, he said whatever makes me happy, Ashley replied. His parents are paying for the honeymoon, so this is all on us. I closed the binder and looked at my daughter. Ashley, I'm not paying for this wedding. Her face went from excited to shocked to angry in about 3 seconds. What do you mean you're not paying? You promised. I promised to help with your wedding, not bankrupt myself for it, I said. $47,000 is insane. She started crying and said I was ruining her dreams, that all her friends had expensive weddings and she'd be embarrassed to have something small and cheap. Your mom and I got married for $800, I told her. We had the ceremony at her parents' house and the reception in their backyard. It was perfect. That was 30 years ago, she yelled. Things are different now. I told her she had 2 choices. I'd give her $5,000 toward a reasonable wedding, or she could pay for this circus herself. Ashley stormed out and didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. She told her mom I was being cruel and selfish. She even called her grandmother trying to get her to convince me to change my mind. But then something interesting happened. Brandon came to see me by himself. He sat in my living room looking really uncomfortable. Mr. Davis, he said, I need to tell you something. I had no idea Ashley wanted to spend that much money. When she told me $47,000, I almost choked. Turns out Brandon had been trying to talk Ashley into something smaller for months. He wanted to use their money for a down payment on a house instead of one expensive party. I was actually hoping you'd say no, he admitted. I didn't know how to tell her we couldn't afford it without sounding unsupportive. 3 days later, Ashley called me crying, but this time it was different. She apologized and said she'd been talking to some of her married friends about their wedding debt. One couple was still paying off their wedding loan 3 years later. Another friend's parents had to delay retirement because of wedding costs. I don't want you to struggle financially because of my party, she said through tears. Brandon and I found a really nice park pavilion that cost $300 to rent. We ended up having the wedding at the state park by the lake. Ashley's mom and I helped with decorating. Her aunt made the cake and Brandon's cousin DJ'd the reception. The whole thing cost $4,200 and it was absolutely beautiful.